morning and happy Sunday. Yes, the weir you hear is my chair, and we're just heading back in, and I'm just using the time again to sort of chat while we're out in the real big world. And Nico's sort of enjoying things and seeing another puppy, so just hold on. So that little dog didn't really want to play. Poor Nico. As things warm up a bit, probably take him over to the dog's park and allowing him to run and just play with others. We have to watch a lot of times, but fun is all good. At least they get a chance just to run. I don't put the vest on Nico when we're out and about. Because, it's all good. But Nico needs time to be a dog. Just a good old-fashioned dog. And so there's not much going on. It's a cloudy start to the day. Who knows? I think we were supposed to get 15 to 20 millimeters of rain, but now it's only to 5 millimeters of just showers. So we'll see how that plays out. The last week we haven't really had any rain, so this is kind of like going to be one little hiccup. I guess Mother Nature is, she kind of hit us hard with the snow this year, and then with the rain. God, did it rain. So now she's going to be nice with us and, just a hookup. And then a little as we enter into February, we're going to get some rain again. So the one thing I really hate about the rain is if we get a day of rain, doesn't matter what time, it just seems to be pelting down. Every time we want to go for a walk, it's kind of like, oh well, they're heading out for a walk. So hopefully we won't be like that. But I'm sure everyone could say that. Every time they plan to go out, it clouds up in rain. Good morning and happy Thursday. Yay, the cold still keeps hanging on. Got Nico out for a little bit of a longer walk today, and he's found a ball. And it's his ball now. He's been playing with it all along, so kudos for him. Now, sorry, that's my pump. That's why I got tangled up. Excuse me. It was my insulin pump. Now, today is supposed to be cloudy, and we'll wait to see what Friday. Some people are saying Friday's going to be rain. Other people are saying it's going to be cloudy and miserable. It's going to be interesting to get out there and see. I like it when, I don't care if it rains all day. every time we seem to go out, it seems to be more rain coming down. I don't know, Friday seems to be loads of fun. But, I still have the nasal condition. Really tired all the time, too. So we'll see how long this video goes today. We'll go as long as I can, but we'll see. So I hope all of you are well, and that many of you haven't found yourselves in the same condition I am. It's been a hard winter, but we'll all survive, and it doesn't help that the flu shot really hasn't taken hold, or not hold, but it really kind of hit the mark this year, and a number of people have got sick, and it's no fun. And for the first time this year, I have really been sick, as opposed to a runny nose or whatever. For at least 3 days, I was in bed. And that's why we posted our little notice that we weren't able to broadcast anything. But we'll all survive. We'll all come out of this. Still have to get up every day and take Nico for a walk, because, Nico won't be happy, and we don't want Nico to start doing anything in the house. So grab your coffee, tea, hot chocolate, Slurpee, whatever, and we'll get going. Now, there is a radio station in Texas. I'm not exactly sure. Let me just take a look here. Where in Texas it is. But this radio station being Hits 105 in Tarkana, Texas. And what this radio station has done, sucking in candy, has refused to play any Madonna's music. Now, let me get this out. They have done this because of Madonna's statements at the Women's March. And part that she was upset with the results of the election. And that's fine. She can voice that as much as she wants. And, I kind of agree with her. However, she gets on and, she starts talking profanity. And, once you do that, you're lowering yourself to the same levels as your opponents. Now, she did this because, she was trying to rally up the women's movement. Now, she says she thought about even blowing up the White House. And at that point, I kind of agree with the radio station about not playing her music. She can stand behind those beliefs, except when it comes to damaging a national monument or assassinating. Now, I've heard somewhere that she's also including wanting to assassinate Donald Trump. And I'm sorry, once you're doing that, you are invoking treason. And that's not American. American is debating the issues and someone having free speech. But you don't say, oh, I'm going to kill a president or marm any part of the national sites. It's the same as spray paint all over Mount Rushmore, or plugging up Old Faithful, or anything that's going to cause injury or demolish a national treasure. Then that person should be held responsible. Now, who is it? Piers Morgan, who now does a show in Britain. He was working for CNN, but he does the show Good Morning Britain. And him and Newt Gingrich says that she should be arrested and jailed. Now, the problem is when you have a celebrity figure and she's out, or he gets out there and says we should blow up something or we should kill someone, or there are people crazy enough to go out and try to do this. Celebrities carry sort of a big wallop. And she can always say, well, I didn't really mean it that way, but you need to be aware of what you're talking about. You can disagree with Mr. Trump on anything. However, there's a difference when you say you want to harm him or anyone else. I don't care if it's him or the Conway woman who represents him on air. Doesn't matter. You have the ability to invoke, I'd say, violence amongst your followers. So I think the radio station in Kansas, or Texas has the right idea. If she wants to stand up and say these things, and the government isn't going to do anything, it's not jailing her or whatever, then they should have a right to block any songs from being played. Now, this also goes for every other radio station should be doing it. Now, unless you're kind of getting into the older music, Madonna really hasn't done that much lately. So we need to, if this is going to work, you need to get sort of like the all-hit wonder stations or stations along those lines. Don't just try to minimize the importance of what she has said. She can be really invoking treason, and that's not acceptable. Again, we're getting into this great divide, and what I mean by the great divide is, you have Democrats and you have Republicans, or vice versa, depending on how you're looking at this. And if we're getting into this whole point about damaging national historic sites or threatening to kill a person in government, I don't care what his beliefs are. No one has a right to do that. Now, in her mind, she could argue saying, oh, well, I thought it was just showing how involved I am with my beliefs. It's not involved in your beliefs. It's saying that you just want anarchy. And, she was dressed all black and she had the gloves with different letters on it. And, people may, there's nothing wrong with going and marching towards the Capitol or to the White House, but you're not going to do damage. And it seems like, yes, she can be upset, but you don't just go and say, you know what, we're going to demolish the White House or we're going to blow up the White House. Because for a lot of people, that is sort of the leadership of the country. Now, just because you don't believe that and you don't like the person who's the resident right now, that's, you can fight the person with words. You don't want to do damage, because once you start doing damage, then you're no better off than that person. So, while I can see you when you were talking to the women, I can understand that you really want to get out there and talk about how his policies are going to affect the women of the nation. That's fine. That's great. You can do that. But you can't sort of say, well, let's get over and let's just get all together and kill Trump. You don't have a standing. Now, think about it, what would have happened if the whole crowd had turned and gone rushing the White House and caused damage? Who's going to end up paying for it? It's not going to be her. She's going to turn to the government and say, well, you need to clean up and fix things. It's not going to be Trump, because it's not like Trump owns the White House, where in England, when the Windsor Castle burned down, it was the Queen's private home. And there is much difference. The White House is a place of business, and it is also a symbol. Now, you as a person can go up and, we'll say, storm the gates with your signs and your chants. That's perfectly fine. But don't go saying cause harm, because then you're actually going to be jailed if that ever happened. Now, Piers Morgan and Newt Gingrich have called for her to be arrested. Nothing's happened so far. But who knows? That could be in the near future. Now, again, if you don't believe in what this person is doing, you have a right to picket, to yell, to scream, but you don't have a right to threaten the person's safety or cause them bodily harm, or any sort of property of the government. Because Washington is for the people. And we should take care of it. It doesn't mean, you want to make a big stand, you're going to blow it up. Well, if that ever happened, I'm sorry, Madonna, you would be guilty of treason. And, that's enough. Okay, Mary Tyler Moore has passed away. I've grown up with Mary. Well, in the 60s, there was the Mary Tyler... in the 60s, it was the Dick Van Dyke Show. And I loved that show. I loved it. Anytime it was on and I was able to watch it, I would watch it. Mary was able to play off Dick. And she was 80. But another reason why I loved Mary Tyler Moore, because she, like myself, is a type 1 diabetic. Now, you have to remember that all these kids that have diabetes, type 1s grow up. And amazing happens. But she always showed that you could do more with diabetes. And she was a role model for diabetics. And during the 70s, we remember her from her own show, the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And she was always active with diabetes advocacy. And I can remember going to a speech and seeing her speech, and she was always very well spoken. The great diabetes world is going to really miss Mary Tyler Moore. And I don't know what else to say. She was an awesome individual. My thoughts and my prayers go out to her family. And like I said, the world is going to be at a loss. She fought a good fight, and I'm really sorry that she has lost her fight. And I'm not sure how she passed away. I was at diabetic daycare yesterday, or I call it diabetic daycare, and the nurse let me know, and I was kind of shocked. There are people that you expect will be around for years, and I've lost two. Well, I haven't lost, but the world's lost two. One earlier this year was Debbie Reynolds. Someone could also include her daughter in that, Carrie Fisher, and now Mary Tyler Moore. 3 strong women individuals. And now the world of diabetes is going to have to wait to have someone else become the strong advocate for diabetes. Getting out there then saying that governments need to contribute more to finding a cure. I myself have type 1 diabetes, and I'm suffering the consequences of having type 1. And right now, my blood sugars have a mind of their own. They could be high all morning. I had a low blood sugar, and it was completely, we don't know why. So, we need to wonder how we can solve. Now, there are many other diseases out there. There's AIDS, there's cancer. But diabetes a lot of times contributes to the cancer, to other. If you have diabetes, you're trying to control both, it can be difficult. Not saying that if you have diabetes, you're open to getting cancer more. But, like I said, the world has lost a great advocate, and we're sorry that we have lost Mary Tyler Moore. And my thoughts and prayers go out to her family in this difficult time. Maria McLean from Grand Falls is saying that Bell Media fired her after she shared her mental illness with her colleagues and gave a note to her supervisor stating that she would need 2 weeks off and to adjust to her new medication. I am sorry, but would she have got that treatment if it was cancer? I beg to differ, but because it's mental illness and her employer is Bell, who says that they're always open and we should talk about mental health issues. I've spoken many times about these mental health issues, and no one has the right to discriminate against any illness. Now, if a person says, oh, well, I have cancer, everyone goes, oh, I'm sorry, how can I help? What can I do? Where other people just kind of say, oh, I don't want anything to do, get away, that mental illness is a sign of weakness, where other types of illness, oh, you're fighting. And I don't think mental illness should be treated that way. There are many people out there who suffer with depression, and they're not weak. In fact, they put up with so much more than you do every single day. Now, mental illness, people always associate mental illness, oh, they're going crazy. They're going to get a gun and come and shoot us all. Now, the really sad part is that she was let go an hour after giving this note. Now, is that not... And her parent company, Bell Media, always pushes this Let's Talk initiative. And yet when one of the company's employees have an issue, then it's sort of like, oh well, we'll just get rid of her. Now, just because you're ill, you can't be fired. Every province across Canada says, for whatever reason, you cannot be fired. So, of course, Bell will come up with many other reasons why. But I think we really have to start stepping up, and if a company is for mental illness and solving mental illness, if someone in your company comes up and gives a note saying they need 2 weeks off, if the same person came up and said, hey, I've got cancer and I need 2 weeks off, the only other illness that has so much stigmatism to it is AIDS. I'm wide awake, sorry. And, AIDS, because people are talking, oh, he has AIDS, he's not going to last long. Oh, you know how he got AIDS. It's probably drug or gay sexual practices. And I think we have to stop this. People get ill for many different reasons. And if you want to build a more solid team, sometimes people need time off to take care of these things. And just so you come along and say, oh, well, no, you're fired, but we'll support mental health issues, is ridiculous. Now, I hope I think it's Maria McLean, sues Bell for everything. Billions of dollars. Because companies have to learn that people need time to recover for whatever illness. It's not her fault that she got mental illness. So why are we treating it like that? So, I'll tell you a story how I won't mention names and I won't mention the company's name, but a friend of mine worked for a bank. And he suffered from mental illness. And he went to the hospital because he was having trouble with his depression. So his doctor allowed him out on pass, and one of the things he wanted to do was go to the local gym and build up his body, and it would relieve some of the pressure. The doctor approved it. Someone at his bank brought it up and said he had saw him. So his manager called his cell phone and said he had come to work, that someone had saw him out there, and they were pretty well, calling this person and saying that, oh, you're fraudulently taking time off. And he said he expected him, I don't know, the next day or Wednesday or whatever, to be at work. So this person signed him out of the hospital and went to work. And this guy was in tears by the end of the shift, and no one has that right. If you are off ill and you have provided a certified doctor's note, then that should be it. You need to take care of you first. No one has the right to harass you into coming into work. And it ended up that I believe this person was let go. Now, it's the same sort of issue as we're discussing. Now, Why do people feel they have a right to do this to a person who's suffering from a mental illness? You don't have this right. Now, I believe banks and that get sort of billed from the insurance company based on how many people were off, and they end up paying for the time off. And I'm sorry, you chose your openness. You say, oh yes, we time off for people who are ill. Mental illness is an illness. You kind of notice that in the title? So these companies that think, oh well, this person has a mental illness, let's get rid of them. That's ridiculous. No one has the right to make a person who's already having trouble dealing with society for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be one particular. It's any kind of mental illness. That person should be treated with the utmost respect. And people should care for these people. And they're still people. They're not, lower life than you. But yet, we don't seem to think of these people that way. We seem to constantly talk down to them. A lot of people who are in the psych ward don't get visitors, and it's the same sort of thing. Oh, that person is crazy. There is no such thing as a person being crazy. Some of their actions may not be the greatest for whatever reason, but yet that person isn't crazy, wacko. That person is a person. And if you have, you have to have surgery or something else, or another illness, your doctor provides a note, you take it, and your HR department's fine with the time off. Well, why can't we accept that for mental illness? Mental illness people are expected to do so much more than you and I. But so often they are shunned at, they're laughed at. This time this person was called into work when he was actually in the hospital. And his doctor, when he found out that he had to go and do work, phoned the bank. And if I had known at the time, I would have phoned and gave this manager hell on how dare he bring people into work that were sick. It's something we all have to really think about. Just because one person is mentally ill does not mean that they're going to get an Uzi and shoot up the whole place. While true, some of the places in the States still saying, oh yes, we've got to ban people who have mental illness from having a gun. But not all people who have mental illness are going to go and shoot. There's probably people out there who have other illnesses who are just still going to go and shoot up. I think first thing to help people with mental illness is to wake up and to treat them as a person. Toronto, Ontario. Now, there's an article, or not an article, a segment going to be on CBC News saying that we as individuals have a right to film police as long as we don't obstruct justice. Now, I can understand being not really wanting to be filmed because police have many different jobs, and if they're undercover or whatever, that could be an issue. Now, I know that this has been an issue in Canada, and I think it's gone to a few state Supreme Courts, but the police are, I think, upset about this, but they can not stop you from filming, and they cannot seize your camera. And, obscuring justice. If you are going to use this film in court, that's fine. However, what are people actually doing? They are taking these bits and pieces and they are playing them out to get their 15 minutes of fame. Years ago, a person, I can't remember the person's name, was tasered out at YVR. And these people, someone filmed it. And, it wasn't only used in court, it was sort of publicized everywhere. Now, what ended up happening is the police officer was tried and convicted by everyone. Now, it's important to remember that if you were just going to use it for, the trial, I don't have a problem with that. However, just as long as the same as news stories, they can be portrayed any particular way. And this person, if they're being arrested or someone else, there's police brutality. Well, you can make it either way. So, filming the police, I think we should have our right to do it. But we should be limited to not portraying this to every single person in the world. It can be used in a court of law. Filming, I have fine. I don't have a problem with. Not taking your cameras and your cell phones or whatever, I'm fine with that also. But what I don't have in my mind, what I have an issue with, is a person with a cell phone filming, editing it in whatever way, and making a case for themselves amongst the media. That is unfair. And if someone does that, personally, I feel should be held in contempt, and that piece of material should not be allowed in court. Now, after the case, and after the police officer or whoever has been served dual process or duly processed, then that is different. But just trying to alter a case by spreading out a whole bunch of material, I think is wrong. And we have to be careful when it comes to filming officers. Now, what is obstructing justice? Well, getting in, trying to get a better shot and is standing in, or calling out for other people to do other things to impede the arrest and having it filmed just for your 15 minutes of fame. I don't think that should be allowed. We've seen many different cases of where that's shown. Okay, Butchart Gardens, which is a lovely, peaceful gardens on Vancouver Island, close to Victoria, is one of the is one of the parks, attractions that have banned selfie sticks. And why would you say they're banning selfie sticks? Well, they're doing this because they say that the paths are narrow and they don't have room for people to be going out like this. People are trying to walk and talk, and if you have this and you're trying to smile into the camera, you're going to cause problems. Now, a lot of times gorilla sticks or small tripod, like I'm using a small tripod right now, that's acceptable. But the way people have been using them, Disneyland is supposed to be the happiest place on earth. And for years, they've, not allowed selfie sticks. But we need to be concerned, and we need not concerned that they're banning selfie sticks. A lot of times these are private parks and they can do whatever they really wish. So I did mention there is alternatives. Now, if people in the first place weren't such jerks for using the selfie sticks in the inappropriate ways, they walk along, banging into people. Now, people use them to go on YouTube, and I fully agree. When I'm at a park, I'm kind of looking, okay, Splash Mountain's over here or whatever. And we need to have a time where you can stop and you can observe things without worrying about someone coming on with a selfie stick and smashing into you. It becomes a personal safety issue. And I agree that Lollapalooza, I don't even know where this place is. Disneyland. Now there's, besides Butchart Gardens here in the lower, or in BC, there is also, the PNE has banned selfie sticks. Now, selfie sticks could be like if you're on a cruise and you want to get your whole group one photo. That's super. But walking around trying to do a blog and people kind of think, oh yes, let's go, but they don't kind of stop and then turn it back on when they're ready to the next point. They want to talk and continue on. So selfie sticks, I don't think they're appropriate at every every amusement park, theme park, any group where there's a whole bunch of people all together and you're talking and you're not. My diabetic Mike's Diabetes World and the Human Resources rant, I had them out, and sometimes I used a selfie stick, sometimes I just held it. But I pretty well have seen, and I look ahead as I go. Having it up like right in front of you, you're not really seeing where people are and what they're doing. So, banning of selfie sticks, I think it's a good thing. Holding a phone, you may be, I'm getting tired, and you may put it down and look at people. Just some sort of thought on the 2 cameras issue. Okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow, I don't know. We'll see what the news gives us. I may talk about, I don't know, CBC, I believe it's CBC, it may be global, has said, about the wall being built and the number of executive orders being put through by Trump within, the first couple of days is astronomical, and do they hold any force? So over the next couple of days we may do that, or there may be other news stories that come. But what's important is freedom of speech is fine as long as you don't hurt someone else. Because if you hurt someone else, then you don't have a right to be allowed to get out there and say, oh well, yes, I'm right. Now Trump's done an awful lot of this on his Twitter, so you don't need to fire back necessarily. Unless you know the facts, then you can fire back. So I hope you have a great day. I think I'm going to probably spend some time going back, relaxing, getting some Z's. But like I said before, have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now. Good morning, and I guess happy Friday. Well, we're still dry. Sunday we're supposed to get the rain, but I thought I'd broadcast from our walk. We are a little late. God, did I sleep in today? Well, I got up, took Nico for a walk in the early morning, and it was freezing. But all is good. And I'm just really kind of, when you sleep and it's hard to wake up, that's what I'm going through. Nico is glad to be out. He's just continually going for a walk. I didn't put the vest on because, sorry, this time is his time. But, he enjoys that. If we meet another dog who's friendly, this is the time where he could meet up. And, it's all good. Thinking how dark this looks, but it's through my outside sunglasses so it turned dark. But all is good. Just keeping Nico busy for a walk. We can go haven't been out for a walk for like a longer walk for a while. So, it's good. Nico's getting some exercise. And, there's a few people out. It's after lunch, so it's almost 2. So, yeah. Ow! My neck cracked. So, grab your coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever you like, and we'll be right back with our review of the news. Okay, yes, we're back in the house. He goes off with his ball somewhere, but he's having fun with it. Now, Mr. Trump has started, his whole big plan of building this wall with Mexico. And, he's done an executive order and things started to move. Now, kudos to the president. I couldn't think of what they call it, but the president of Mexico canceled his visit to Washington. And, I'm thinking, great. Trumpism doesn't have to go around the world. Just because Trump says so doesn't make it so. Now, he says he's going to tax imports. And bully for him. Now, he says he's going to tax the Mexican imports to pay for this wall. Now, I think what the world needs to do is to allow Mexican imports into various countries so that it's not such a big blow to Mexico. Now, Trump seems to think the Mexican people are just this weakling. Oh, yes, we'll pay. We'll pay so you can construct this wall. But, it's really starting to have negative not appreciation, but it's starting to sound an awful lot like Hitler. And, Hitler started to make all these big promises. Well, he tried to appease people. If you remember during the election, he went down and he had this great talk with the Mexican president, and then came back to Washington and started all his rhetoric again. So, I don't necessarily believe that the Republican Party is totally negative. I think he's just the building force. And he's not really going to be in the White House that much. He's keeping Melania and Byron in New York, in the Trump Tower, And every time he goes there, it's going to cost the taxpayers $500,000 just for the security. So I don't know. It seems like the states are going to be paying an awful lot more. Now he says Mexico is going to pay for this wall. Well, I really think it would be great if Mexico didn't even import anymore to the States. Sorry, I got an itch. But, right now, because they are neighbors, true, a lot of Mexicans go into the States, but they're not all rapists and drug dealers. I gotta admit, there could be some going in, but every time you have groups of people, you're going to have some people that aren't as good. Now, I believe he's signed an order also starting to limit the amount of people coming from Syria and other Muslim nations. Well, he promised this, and he's making things happen, all with executive orders. Well, you see, he's got the back of the House of Representatives and the Senate. They're both Republican. So right now, he can do whatever he wants. And I'm sorry, but I keep having to say that it sounds like very much a Hitler. He's trying to make a dynasty. And I just hope that the Democrats have a strong candidate in 2020, because what we're having now, excuse me, my cold, is a very negative belief. And people are kind of letting things slide. Oh yes, oh yes. Now, there have been protests. There's been a women's march, but it sounds like right now, sort of the there was an association that voiced their opinion against, limiting the amount of people, the immigration order. And the amount of executive orders that he issued on the first day is a hell of a lot more than any of his predecessors done. So basically, he's going to run the country by doing his executive orders. And they're all basically being broadcast. And it's all kind of, Trump's issuing another order. Oh, let's all bow to Trump. Right now, it's Mexico, and he'll say that Mexicans will build the wall. Well, next it'll be the other border, Canada, and the amount of people sneaking into the States. Well, for years, I think, is it Point Roberts? There's houses like right on the border, and they can pretty well cross into the United States and cross back. And there are places back east where the border runs right through the house. So what is he going to do? Have an international border guard in these houses all day because Canadians might be sneaking in? My dad did a lot with the oil industry. And yes, we flew down and spent some time in Houston, but everyone who's doing this stuff, dealing with Trump, Canada, and Mexico, everything's got to be done his way now. It's garbage. I think Canada, well, Mexico is kind of stuck with their industries. In Canada, we have a lot of stronger industries that can fight this. But, Trump seems to think that we'll all bow down to the almighty Trump. And, I'm getting sick of it, of hearing how he can just ruin people's lives based on whatever his whim is. Now, he is saying that, we've all heard this, that it's going to make America great again. Well, I don't think it's going to make America great. I think what's going to happen is pretty much he just wants, the childhood he sort of grew up in, where he is the almighty and the white race rules the world. It's proven that he doesn't have any contempt for women. Now, we saw on our election inauguration day that he just kind of walked ahead of Melania, and the Obamas were very nice and very open. But he just seems to, all these wonderful plans he has in his head. It'll be interesting to see how long the democracy lasts, or how long the people of the United States will stand for this. I have heard countless people voicing their opinion, and it's kind of like the press just keeps going on about anything negative. Like, I think he's still going on about how many people the press sort of said came to his inauguration. And I think this is crazy. Everything's got to be a big press. Now, I can remember, yes, I know I'm old now, but I can remember before all Watergate and whatever, President Nixon coming on TV, and it was a big thing. Now, I don't know how many times, and he keeps craving the news attention. And it's getting, really, enough is enough. Not every president, they had signed executive orders and all that, but it doesn't have to be broadcast. But I think Trump really wants all the attention. I think he kind of wallows in it. He really likes all the attention. And he keeps his press secretaries and that coming out and saying, well, there is alternate facts. There is no such thing as alternate facts. The facts are the facts. Now, he says just because where he was, it seemed like millions of people were there. I think they said 250 to 300,000. Now, I think the states, the people of the red states who voted for Trump are going to have an eyes opening, because once he's got all the people of the world kind of mad at him, the next thing is people in his own country is going to start turning. He keeps saying he's going to make the streets safe again. Well, do you think the black population is going to be all, oh yes, we'll just follow Trump? He talked about the right to seize and to seizure an individual. Well, I'm sorry, that's my pump. Just because a police officer doesn't like your look, they're going to have a right to totally seize you and search. Seize and search, I think that's what it's called. And that's got to be ridiculous. But this is the type of thing you guys voted for. Now, it's a lot more than the Republicans thought. And, they kept saying, it all looked like Hillary was going to win, and he kind of snuck right through. And he can't be happy that he won the presidency. He keeps saying that, 3 to 5 million people voted illegally. And there has not been any facts to this. But in his mind, we keep going. So I think we have to realize that we have to really watch, and we have to protest every time Trump wants to do something. Because, the next time they'll be coming for you. Okay. There is, just get my chair back here. 2 Canadian women, one from Toronto and one from Montreal, whose names are on documents relating to over 200 companies, and they say they don't know anything about them. Well, that's not true. They don't say they signed tax documents that they don't know were correct, and it's kind of like, if you're going to sign something, anything that goes to the government, then we'll make sure it's true. Don't sort of, these things happen, and, yes, you'll be paid this amount of money. Really kind of opens us up, and it says that we're kind of the best place to get information. And you know what? We're kind of like Canada's becoming a haven. Now, there's that, and then also the Coquitlam RCMP. For those of you who don't know, Coquitlam is a suburb of Vancouver. They have been finding skimmers and shammers. I believe the second one's called shammers. All around retailers, and they can be put in easily. Now, the second way to do that, they say, is to tap. Take your bank card and you tap it, because less information is passed. Now, if you sit there and you type in your information, they've got your PIN, they've got everything. And it's actually very easy to get these into the systems. Come on bank card and says, "Oh, there's a problem." Now, people have to be aware and take care. Now, I know, sorry, when I worked with Save On Foods, at the time they were exchanging the whole machine, and we had to every morning and every night record the serial numbers of the bank machines, or not the bank machines, sorry, the bank, where you put in your Interact machines. Now, they seem to easily, when they're pretending to make a transaction, slip a card in there and everything. They start to get all the transaction information. And what ends up happening is they can make these phony cards and start transacting. So we have to be alert. When we get our statements, we have to be alert to make sure that these aren't happening to you. And if you're starting to see charges, and I know back we had this in-house sort of training session with the RCMP, it was that first they're going to start little amounts. And if that goes through, then you're all of a sudden going to have like a $300-$400 or even $1,000 transaction, because they're going to see and they're going to be able to get your information. So if you have to type something in, be very leery. I don't know if bank cards are that open, assuming they are. So I think bank cards and that, you should be changing your password as much as possible. But people don't think it's going to happen to them. And Coquitlam is just the next municipality over. So, they're thinking organized crime is getting into these. And, maybe Canada is a strong country for the pickets. Just be aware. Okay, that's it. It's a short one today. I'm still got a headache and still getting over things, and Nico wants to play, so I'm sorry to tell you Nico comes first. But, be careful out there. People are trying to gain your identities, your trust, and take your cards and use the information off your cards. So you can look on CBC, BC News, about the story and what you can actually do to protect yourself. Okay, so have a great day. We'll talk with you tomorrow. And I know it was short today, but hopefully tomorrow we'll get it going. Talk to you later. Bye now. Hey, good morning. Well, my chair broke and my pad fell off, and it's a big long story, so I had to move, and hopefully you can see me with the light. I know the light's shining bright there, but the kitchen and the hallways are on, so hopefully it'll all work together. And as soon as stores open, I guess I'll be going to a Rona or a used to be, no, that's Rona, or Home Depot to see if they have anything that could help out. But we'll all soon find the best of things. But I just plugged it back in so we could have a few minutes while I'm doing our little rant for the day. So it may be a short one today, we'll see. Now, I hope you all are doing well and you're staying free from the colds and the flu. And I'm still kind of zonked by the whole rigmarole of this whole flu cold thing. And some people say, oh, you just had a cold, and others say, no, you had the flu. So who knows? I'm feeling better. I just get worn out a lot quicker than before. And who knows? We'll have to see. Now, I guess I should keep talking till we lead. I kind of program each day thing, so we go to 2 minutes and we're almost there, and then we'll move on to our first little topic, and then we'll be raring to go. So sit back, grab your coffee, tea, hot chocolate, Slurpee. I know I said Slurpee quite a bit, but I used to work for 7-Eleven, so. And sit back, relax, and we'll be right back. Okay, I want to know why every time Trump comes up in the news, it's nothing positive. Now, I don't agree with what he's doing at all, but, usually there's presidents who have opposition when they come into office, and that's basically because, the other side is pulling up dirt on, but Trump seems to be pulling it upon himself. No, well, some could say that Obama never really pushed his acknowledgement of, how do I put this? Of Twitter or whatever, and now Trump is just using it more because he was so able to use it during his election rise to power. And there are two rather prominent Jewish females who say that if there is a negative registry, that they're going to register. And they're not even Muslim. Now, there's also Reince Priebus, who I believe was the president of the Republican Party, but who's now Trump's chief of staff, and he's really coming out and saying, well, no, we're not meaning everyone. There's just certain types, and it's only until we get things organized. Yes, but what sort of measure is there saying that people are going to be organized? When are you going to be organized? At what level are you going to be organized? Because, Trump's doesn't really want any immigration, because any immigration has been shown to really favor the Democrats. So when are we going to allow this to, I shouldn't say we, because Canada will still allow, but when will um, people expect these parts to be lifted? And the answer will be, well, we don't know at this time. Well, that's a bunch of garbage. You should really know when things are going to be lifted. But Trump doesn't seem, Trump's just thinking, oh, yes, well, we'll have to do this because we told our limited base. And, did he get better or win more people over? I don't think so. I'm thinking with the amount of negative press he's getting and, the whole part about the inauguration, the amount of people there, he keeps bringing up, or maybe it's finally died down, but how the media is totally against him? Well, they're not totally negatively against him. They're pretty well against anyone in the party. Or not in the party, sorry, anyone who holds the office. They're going to be negatively against because they're going to expect great things. And so far, he's limited what abortion rights have been, and it's all what his people who elected him want. Well, that's what we could say about any side. So, when can we win? And when can we expect things to settle down? Who knows with Trump? He's already talking about building a wall. Now, this wall may be a negative thing. There's already, I don't know the name of the Indian tribe, but part of where the border goes is on their native land, and they're saying that they're not going to allow the U.S. to go through there. So then what? All of a sudden, are the native Indians going to be against Trump? I can't believe with the negativity that's out there. Now, could it be that Trump is saying just a whole bunch of stuff just to get people riled up, and he feels that this is going to get people behind him? I don't think so. I think we have to be alert to what's going on. I think I've mentioned this before, that how closely what's happened in Germany back in 1937, 38 could be happening here, or not here, but in the States. And, there's an awful lot of people who are saying that, oh, well, Trump's just being victimized, and there's the other side saying, well, Trump doesn't really know what he's doing, and look at, he's done this, and now he's going after the Muslims, and he's trying to build this wall, and what? Is he just going to executive order everything? Like, really, what are the House and the Congress going to do if all he has to do is just put through people's, just do it as executive orders. Right now he's sort of saying that Trump can do whatever, or he's not saying this, but I think he's thinking this, that Trump can do whatever he wants because he has a positive count in the House and the Senate. So, I'm tired of I could go after something else, but I'm tired of saying all about Trump and his reign of power. And I'm not the first one to say that we could have a hit to democracy in the States. Now, Trump is using the Republican Party almost the same as that Hitler did with the Nazi Party. Now, I can't see where he just has a desire to rule the world. Well, maybe he does. But his whole thing about making America great, and how often he keeps going on and saying, well, we're going to make America great. We're going to make America great. But, sometimes people have to stand up and say, you know what? We've had enough. And there are people after the the professor from somewhere who's predicted, every election since, I think it was Roosevelt or Truman or something, saying that yes, Trump was going to be elected, but it was also now saying that Trump would be impeached. And I can see where he could be impeached based on what we're seeing so far. If he just keeps using executive orders, he's not really even waiting for due process to take effect. He just constantly is waiting there and just saying, well, I don't like what this is, I don't like what that is, and blah, blah, blah. I'll just write an order and get on with it. Now, I can remember when he initially got elected, he constantly was saying, oh, well, look how many executive orders Obama is writing. And now he's written twice as many. And I believe I brought that up yesterday. So, I think proper disobedience is a way to go. Now, like I said yesterday, I don't agree with Trump or what Trump's doing, but I also don't agree with what Madonna is saying about blowing up things, and that doesn't really work. So, who's to know? Who's to know what's right and what's wrong? Everyone else is trying to point fingers and, well, that's why the Democrats weren't reelected. Well, the Republicans were just better on getting people out. And people wanted to see, the last time, they wanted to have a first black prime minister, president, and Trump just beat out Hillary. And the Democrats are known for not getting the people to the polls as quickly as possible on election day. So, I still think striking, protesting might be the best way to go. But we have to wait to see how His Highness treats people like that. Anyway, it's something really to think about and discuss. Okay, yes, I know I have one piece of hair that keeps sticking up, but that's it for today. I had to race out and get pieces for my chair, and I was running late this morning, so all good now. So, take care, and of course tomorrow is our review of the week. So hope you look forward to that. Talk to you later. Bye now. Okay, Nico met some friends and then they could play, so that was a good thing. So grab your coffee, your tea, your hot chocolate, and Sundays we try to do a lot of the review topics we discussed. This week we've done an awful lot with Trump. But yeah, we'll try to see how that plays out. And we'll be right back. Okay, that was our topics for today. And, we kind of hope you enjoyed things. But all is well. And, yeah, we're going out for coffee today. So that should be fun. Didn't get to get out last week. Really wasn't feeling well. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, hope you have a great day, and we'll be right back in a moment.